you left unchanged, won't treat me right. Try to keep you drinking whiskey out of my sight. I'm gonna stomp that thing, I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing them things not ring. Baby, don't be shy, bottling them down, bragging about the time since I left town. I'm gonna stomp that thing, I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing them things not ring.
All right, welcome, Whitesboro, to another edition of Life in the Borough. I'm your host, Ben Edwards, and as always, and joining me today, we have a very special guest. Now, so far on this program, we've had a ton of people come through. They're all Whitesboro residents or business owners here in town. They have some kind of connection to Whitesboro. Well, this guy doesn't, and he's here for one night and one night only. Well, technically 3 nights, but one night only. He is a musician. He's going to be performing at Cook's Main Stage this Saturday night, April 5th, 7 o'clock. Tickets still available. You don't want to miss this. This guy came all the way from Australia, Victoria.
That's right.
Now, is it? Listen to that. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, is this Victoria? Is like it's a province. What do you call it?
It's a state.
A state.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The state, Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
But the state of Victoria. Okay. Long story short, please welcome to the program, Aaron Pollock. Thanks for joining us, man.
Of course, man. Thank you.
We're excited about this, and we're excited to see you perform this Saturday. This is a big deal for our small little town.
It's a big deal for me, man. You know, it took us about 12 months to get this sorted and get it organized, you know.
I bet. That seems like that can't be easy to try to plan to travel as well as, you know, setting up dates. And I mean, that's got to be a tough thing to do. But we are really pumped that you're here. The following night, you're playing in Houston.
Yeah, afternoon.
Afternoon.
So,
well, yeah.
That afternoon.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, man. I know. I've got a good friend of mine who's coming to perform with me.
Really?
Here in Whitesboro. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank God he's going to be driving me.
Yeah,
down
straight
to
down.
Houston. Yeah, man.
Now that's quite a drive.
I'm Australian, man. Like, we're used to. He's a musician. He's a touring artist. His name's Benny Piazza. He's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
And he's a musician, you know, so he's used to driving. Actually, he's also a Lyft and Uber driver.
Really?
Yeah, so he's cool with driving. And I'm from Australia, so every drive is like 2+ hours anyway.
Do you ever drive like over to Perth? That's on the other side, right?
It's a long drive, man.
It's like it's like days, right?
Yeah, it's about 36 hours driving.
Yeah,
and it's across the Nullarbor too, which the Nullarbor Plain is like.
The what?
Well, there's one road,
mm-hmm.
not necessarily sure if it's one of the longest stretches of road in the world, but it's a long stretch, and it's just a stretch of nothing, you know.
This is the one that goes along the southern side, correct?
Yeah, goes across.
So it's basically just like a giant loop with a bunch of cities around the coastline, correct?
That's right. Actually, there's one highway that if you just don't get off of it, it'll take you all around Australia in one go.
Now, is this like to me, this would be a challenge.
It's a long drive.
I'd be like, I got to do this. Is this a bucket list thing?
It used to be, but it's just expensive now, man.
Oh,
I mean, like, we call it petrol, you call it gas.
Yep.
You know? But it's getting so expensive that, like, you know, there's so much of nothing, man. You just end up spending all your money on driving the next 7 hours, 8 hours.
Just to get to the next place to stop?
Yeah, exactly.
Aaron was telling me something interesting. He said that he had previously been to the United States and taken a long road trip. And you said you went to how many states?
Well, including just other ventures that I've done, and you know, but that road trip itself, all up included, I've done about 31 states.
Okay.
There's a couple, like I've also been to Alaska.
Oh wow!
And that was when I worked on a ship, so that was different. But there are some states that weren't part of that road trip, but that one was majority of them. So I've seen 31 states now.
Favorite states? What do you think?
Texas.
Good answer. Yeah,
man.
Nobody believes that.
I do. I have a few favorites. I have Arizona, Texas.
You like the heat?
Winter Arizona.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, I'm okay with the heat, but I just love the feel of the state. As soon as I enter it, I love it. I love when I entered Texas too. I entered this morning. Well, I got off the plane last night at about, say, midnight, But as soon as I was driving through, just going through the airport and coming up, it feels like home. It reminds me of back home. So it doesn't even have to sort of look like home, but if it has some sort of feel, then I like it, So Texas is number one. I love Arizona. I like Tennessee a lot.
Yeah, I bet. Especially as a musician.
Yeah, Tennessee's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
Tennessee's got a lot of rat race sort of, like...
It does.
It's got, especially with Nashville and stuff. But I especially Chattanooga. I love Chattanooga.
Now
They've got
that's
a
where
cool scene.
you were playing just a couple days ago.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2 sold out shows back to back. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's-
Tuesday, and then we had a Saturday, and we had to up the ticket. We actually, I couldn't believe it, man. There was a couple cars arriving outside with extra seats
Oh wow.
to bring in because we sold out, and we had to up the capacity for it.
That's awesome.
That was so cool. I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
believe
got to
it,
be
man.
exciting.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about your history as a musician, but I still want to hit on this road trip because this is cool. So, when my wife and I got married, we took a 3-month. We basically just stopped our normal life for 3 months, and for about 96 days or something, we took a road trip across the country. We went to 48 states. Didn't go to Alaska or Hawaii, but we also drove all over Canada. Cool. And so I think it was like 25,000 miles, 26,000 miles.
Wow.
But we saw like everything. You name it in the United States, all the landmarks, all the places. We went to every baseball stadium in the country.
Cool.
Big baseball fan. So
yeah, you'll do that.
So we've seen that kind of. We've lived that kind of life where, but I rarely get to talk to people who have had that same experience. So let me ask you something, and see if you agree. There's a certain point where that becomes your normal life. And I remember when we first came back from that trip, I went back to work and I was standing in my office and I thought, I have to be here for 8 hours? Like I'm used to, I'm in a different state 8 hours from now usually. And here I am in the same room. It just felt like so confining. And it's just a totally separate lifestyle that you're living when you're gone for months at a time. Did you get that feel?
Definitely, man. Of course. Because you got, where... I don't know to what extent, people are wired for routine, but when you're seeing something new every day and living new experiences, there's, it jumping straight back into a routine where it looks like there's nothing. They call it the post-travel blues or post-travel depression, where, you feel like you're never going to reach that high again. It's it, right? And so you go into that zone. That's hard because I've been doing that for 10 years now. Long 1, 2, 3, up to 6 month long periods of just being constantly moving, and then going and living with a friend for 2 months and settling down, and I feel like that's it, right? I'm retired now.
Yeah.
Nothing good's on the horizon, and all of a sudden it picks up again. But I definitely understand that. That's a huge part of traveling. It's
like that kind of lifestyle just gets into your blood, and once you've experienced, everybody goes on vacation, but once you've really just set aside your normal life and said, this is it for me for a while, and just accepted that as your new normal, as they say these days, that is so hard to really shake off. Like you said, you get that thing, but it's like it sticks with you forever. You can't ever get too far away from it, or you'll feel like I have to get back out. In the old days, they used to say you got to be a rambling man, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like that. It's like I can't live this normal life for too long without at least a little of that feeling back.
Yeah, that's right, man. Especially playing music, and that adds a lot to it because, where I'm lucky is that I don't only enjoy playing music, but people respond to my music and they enjoy it too. And they request me to come back, and they want me to perform. And that's actually what happened here with Texas. It was like 12 months of people saying, my Facebook was just flooded with people from, not even from Melbourne, man. I've been performing in Australia for 10 years. I love my Australian friends and fans and family, but, they do their thing. They're all cool. They know that I'm accessible, right?
Right.
But, you'd go on my Facebook and it was just, it looked like spam comments. When are you coming to Texas? Texas. My friend's from Texas. We can look after you in Texas, you know. And to me, I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, you know, I got to get back there. I got to get moving again, because that's not only my job is performing for people, but, you know, keeping that thing alive. You don't want to lose that, because you know, you start sitting on that thinking, man, I wish I was in Texas right now. But it's a long flight, and it's a lot of work to get over here. So I had to plan it accordingly. You know, you can't just jump on a plane and come over. Well, you can, but you know, you got to be willing to lose money and sleep. You know,
sleep and time and a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Chattanooga those shows did so well. That's very encouraging. That's awesome.
It worked out perfectly, man. We had a few setbacks on booking shows over the last couple. You know, I've been in and out of the USA since 2019, and that long road trip was in 2021.
Okay.
Just at the end of it, and 22. That was a whole complete other circumstance. So basically, I was here for a 6-month period, because we had all of the COVID situation back in Melbourne. That was ridiculous, dude. I was in
y'all
lockdown
got shut
for
down
2 years.
pretty much completely, right?
2 years. Couldn't even leave my town. The only way I could leave the country was if I put in... I had this stack of documents, man, this full application process on leaving the country, and you had to leave the country for more than 3.5 months. So you had to show financial proof. You had to show proof that you could go away for a while.
Oh, wow.
I know. So I did that. And so what's a good excuse, man? Like, everyone was still in lockdown or coming out of it, and it was somewhere I didn't want to be at the time. So I was I went right to the last day of how long I could be here on the 6-month visa. So I traveled, you know, I just kept moving. And so I used up all of that. I didn't want to go back, you know.
Right.
And I was lucky. As soon as I got back, things were starting to move again, but it took its time back home, you know.
Now, did you grow up in that same area that you're in that you lived in as an adult in Victoria?
Yeah, I did. I've always gone back home. I lived on my own through COVID stuff, which it's a blessing, but also it can get a bit boring, you know, because you're on your own. We weren't allowed to have visitors or anything. It was a very strange time, but I've moved around a lot. Nothing's been secure yet. If I did have to live somewhere, you know, me and my fiance looking at Victoria again, just because my family are there and dogs are there and friends, you know, you always have home follow you everywhere you go. But yeah, I've never actually had a long-term stay for the last at least 7 to 8 years, you know.
And do you get homesick, not necessarily for Australia, but for normalcy?
Yeah.
Just a longevity of stability?
Well, you would know this too.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to go home and stay home. You just want a few days to have like the real shower and just hop into bed and just do nothing. You just want like maybe 3 or 4 nights. Then you want to be back on the road again.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I have to always remember that. Like, dude, when I'm home doing nothing, all I want to do is be on the road. When I'm on the road, when that thought comes in, like, hey, I'd love to be home, I have to like get rid of that real quick, you know, because you always want what you can't have, you know. So
the grass is always greener.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a really interesting lifestyle to, you know, to not only be gone, but to be kind of living in a constant changing thing, but with a purpose. Like, we just wandered to see what there was to see. We just went out and looked, saw what we saw in America, right? We wanted to see all the things in our country that we hadn't seen. It's a big place. There's a lot to see. But you have a purpose. You're out playing. You're out seeing the world and also sharing music with people, and that's pretty awesome. So tell me about how you got started as a musician. First of all, you're obviously a guitar player, but do you play any other instruments?
I would just call myself a guitar player. I definitely dabble in other things. Like, all of my records, I would actually be if there was some sort of ranking, I'd be a songwriter first, just because of all the songs that I write, and then I'd be a guitarist and a vocalist, and then I'm a producer and a engineer and stuff. Because I've released 10 records now, and I've done them all at home. in my home studio. So if you hear something with bass and drums and keys and stuff, that is me. So I do all that stuff, but I wouldn't hire me as a drummer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get
I need
that.
time. I can hear what it needs to sound like, and but I program it all and I work on that. So I dabble in other things. I can play the piano, okay, but every time I start not getting that good at it, I just jump back on the guitar.
Yeah.
For more confidence,
I found that I started playing guitar when I was 12, and I've never really got past the just know enough chords to sit down and play whatever song you want to play, but never going to be like a guy as a guitarist on stage. I was always the singer who also played guitar.
Sure.
Basic rhythm stuff, but just enough to where I could sit down and entertain myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been fine with that. But I tell you, I would much rather have spent that time learning how to play piano, because I love the piano. I should have spent all those years studying that instead. And now my right hand can do whatever I want. But
cool.
Man, turning my left hand around from the fretboard to a keyboard, I can't do it. It doesn't work. It's just like I feel like I'm just like I'm wearing an oven mitt, just smashing.
Like it.
That's exactly what it feels like. And I don't know. I would love to have done that. But like bass is guitar. I mean, it's very, very simple. If you can play guitar, you can play bass. But man, it's drums. That's like a foreign language to me. Like piano at least kind of makes sense.
But also you have to. It's one of those things that you have to suck at it a lot, right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I had during lockdown, which this is a blessing, but also it's a very sad thing. But I had an apartment that was split down the middle, and I shared it with an older woman on the other side.
Okay.
So and she was 100% deaf. So like,
this is perfect. It doesn't matter how bad you are or how loud you are, right?
I don't know. So that's like the empathetic side of me thinks it's tragic, but. For a musician in COVID, man, I had 24 hours a day. So I actually went and bought a trumpet. I was listening to a lot of jazz. I was drinking a lot of wine. Had this fat stomach, and I was, I wanted to start playing trumpet, And so I bought one. And you got time, you get bored.
Oh yeah.
That's when you buy stuff, man. It's normally when you're just bored, So I had a trumpet. In my defense, I picked it up really quick. I was catching it, It was annoying me a little bit though, because it is loud, and but you have to be really crap at it for a long period of time until it starts sounding good. Just like even the violin, fiddle, learning that at the start, it just, I tried learning that too when I was a kid, and my dog would howl. So I had to quit. You know what I mean? So you just sound crap. And the drums is like that too. You're just going to annoy your own self, annoy people around you until you get it right.
So when did you start playing guitar?
15.
15. Now, do you have siblings that played or somebody in your family that played?
My dad plays guitar, yeah.
Yeah?
And my brother played too at the time, yeah.
Who's the best of y'all?
My dad and I are, we're close.
Yeah?
Like, he doesn't play as much as he used to. But when he was playing then, he's doing all the stuff that I do now. So I learned a lot from that. And probably unconsciously, like, he played a lot of guitar like Tommy Emmanuel. And learnt, I grew up watching him watch the Tommy Emmanuel lessons, and Chet Atkins and Mark Knopfler especially, things like that. And I must have just thought that was normal, for like guitarists to be tackling that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I was late to the party. I was watching guitars all around the house come and go until I was 15. And my dad used to make us little guitars, little fake ones to play as kids and stuff. But actually starting to play, I was 15, and I started learning all this. I was just asking him for advice and stuff, and he would show me some things, and he gave me my first guitar, which was really cool. So he's a good guitarist. Yeah, he's a very good guitarist.
What was your first guitar?
A Guild F47 MCE. Actually, no, that's a lie. Sorry, that's my first acoustic guitar.
Okay.
My first electric guitar I bought off a friend for $50. And he just flogged it off to me like it was... He wanted to get rid of it, right? He said, take the amp with it too, because I was playing ukulele at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I kept going to his house and picking up his guitar, and just, I had an idea, and I wanted to get out of the ukulele. I wanted some bass strings,
Yeah.
And he just gave it to me for $50, and I took it home, and it was a PV Raptor.
Okay.
Yeah, still got it somewhere actually.
How much is $50?
In right now from US to Australia,
Yeah. Like how much is that in American money now?
about $35.
Okay.
Yeah. It was cheap. That's pretty cheap, dude. Like, even if it was 50 US, that's still cheap. And I love that guitar, man. Ironically, when I still pick that up, it feels good. You know, it helps to have a first guitar that's like actually a good playing guitar.
It's funny is my first guitar. My first guitar was a Stella. It was like a pawn shop, $12 or something. It was it was so cheap.
Yeah.
Nylon strings, and they were in terrible shape. And I played it for 3 weeks, and I was like, I like this, but I got to get a guitar. And
man, they get hard to play, those Stellas.
Yeah.
The necks go funny. The action goes about 3 inches high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And then I had, I can't remember what it was. I could tell you, I could have told you 5 years ago, but it was a very basic acoustic, and it was a Yamaha acoustic. I don't remember what it was. I played this thing. I learned to play on it, and I played this thing for years. Even when I had other guitars, I always kept it. It was just my go-to. It just felt right, and I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know what happened. I think I lost it in Dallas maybe once we were playing, and it disappeared from wherever place we were playing. And it was probably 15 years later that I met my wife, and she said, I got a guitar as a gift. And she walked over and opened up the case. It was the exact same guitar. I mean, not literally the same one, but same brand, same everything.
Yeah. She knew, though?
No, she had no idea.
Oh, you're joking?
Yeah, she had just had it for years. Right. Somebody had given it to her, and it was literally same model, same everything. Looked and felt exactly the same. We still have it.
Wow.
So it was like it was like getting it back. You know, that's what it felt like. So
yeah, man, you're meant to have that guitar, huh?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's really cool.
So when did you realize you were going to be good at guitar?
Right away.
Really?
Yeah, just being honest. You know, I got it really quick. And ironically, I look back at, I was recording myself straight away as well. And, I just loved jumping into the creative side. And so in that first couple years of playing, I've still got the recordings around. I was doing stuff that I can't do now.
Yeah.
Which is really crazy. Like, you start learning your own style, and you start playing with your own sense of rhythm and timing, and, you turn into yourself over time. And so back then, though, I was, you're more sort of a bit more robotic. You're mimicking things. You're just trying to get it note for note. So back then, I was playing things note for note much better than I do now, if that makes sense.
Your own style has creeped in.
It's crept in, and you can't lose it anymore. Mm-hmm. So, man, I listened back to, the first 4 years of me playing guitar, and I impressed myself, which is really cool. I listened back, and I thought, geez, I caught on quick. Because I was playing 9 hours a day, every day, and even when I was at school, I lived close to the school. And whenever it was lunchtime or anything, I'd jump the fence and run home and play guitar and then jump back. I could not get enough of it. And when I was in school, I was writing down the chord shapes and just... Wow, I was locked in, and it still hasn't changed. It's funny how I don't play as much now because I'm performing a lot. You don't practice as much, but, nothing's changed in the way that it's something just ticks, Something changed in my brain when I picked up an instrument, and it's been there for 13 years now.
Do you prefer acoustic over electric, or vice versa?
I prefer the acoustic, just because it suits my style more. Also easy to travel with. Despite having a recording studio at home, I'm not a gear guy.
Right.
I'm a gearhead when it comes to recording gear. I love engineering and mixing and mastering, but I don't care for having a lot of pedals around. I travel really light, dude. I got a suitcase and I got my acoustic guitar, and I always wanted to be just like the old blues players, where I could just jump up on a table. Say the power goes out, I can get on that table and you'll get the exact same show, that you're seeing live. So that made it hard because there was no shortcuts, right? Like finger picking old ragtime tunes and Delta blues tunes. You know, you're playing the bass on your own, and you got to have the rhythm tight, and you're fully exposed at all times, right? Like, you know, if there's one flaw, everybody's going to hear it.
Yep.
So I had to work on getting that good, and that took about 10 years, really, of like finally getting to the point where it's all working the way I want it to. But it helped me avoid having to lug gear around and, you know, just different pedals and different things and amplifiers that, you know, take up a lot of space and time.
And mask the mistakes.
They do.
Yeah.
I love the electric guitar. I'm a big electric fan. I mean, like, my first favorite guitarists were, you know, your real obvious Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix. I learned all those songs note for note. And I still play them, even on the acoustic. You know, I do all the old Hendrix stuff a lot, and John Mayer and all the double stops. You know, I my first few guitars were just all Fender Strats, and I wanted to be, and I still will be, you know, like leading a band with the electric guitar. But I always gravitate to the acoustic, you know, just because I love the acoustic guitar. I love them. I love hearing the sound of it come out right in front of me, you know.
Well, it's much more a human feel to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it tells a better story. It's a better tool for a human to use. I don't know how to describe that better, but
yeah, it's a working tool, you know.
Yeah, something about the reverberation. It's more of a human voice sound.
Yeah.
I feel like. You said that you knew pretty early that you were going to be good at the instrument.
Yes.
When did you realize that you wanted to play that style? That this was the style that... and it sounds like you had a bunch of different styles, but
yeah,
it sounds like you've kind of honed in on the fingerpicking style with the blues bass and kind of folky. Yeah.
That's a good one, man. That was early on too.
When did you say, I'm not playing heavy metal? You know what I mean?
Oh, straight away. See, they all intertwined into something. They all led back to the same thing every time. So I went through big phases of listening to, like, I'm a big Jerry Garcia fan. So if I could tell you one of my favorite guitarists, it's Jerry Garcia. One of my other favorite guitarists is Django Reinhardt, you know, old gypsy jazz player from the 30s. And who else was I love Blind Willie McTell and Blind Lemon Jefferson, and these old blind blues cats from the 20s and 30s. And on top of that, I've got like I don't know if you're familiar with Captain Beefheart. I've got the Trout Mask replica tattoo here. So, dude, I was listening to everything. Velvet Underground. Oh, yeah. I love Lou Reed's guitar playing. It's highly underrated, and it's sloppy. For its time, it was heavy metal. So I was mimicking that stuff too. And it all always ended back in the same thing. It ended up back, you know, to me, I don't actually play traditional fingerstyle blues. It actually is quite unique, if I could say so, because it's got combinations like a lot of Jerry Garcia's picking and playing, and his melodic style of playing comes into my solos with the finger picking, and I've been throwing in a bit of everything. A lot of Django Reinhardt bleeds straight into it. A lot of bluegrass. Tony Rice was a big influence of mine, so I learnt all those licks, and so I sort of finger picked their stuff a little bit, you know. So I actually don't know what I would call it, and I only recently, dude. Lucky I'm in Texas, because over the last couple of years, I got huge on Texas swing, and Bob Wills, and just Texas songwriters. I don't know if Lefty Frizzell was born in Texas, was he?
I think so.
Yeah, he's one of my absolute favorites, dude.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been listening to that stuff religiously now for like 2 years straight, and so I've been doing a lot of swing. Because it's just like Django Reinhardt, right? Yeah. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a jazz influence. There's definitely a ragtime influence there. But you still have the instrumentation of the traditional country music, as well as a little bit of bluegrass, which wasn't really even a thing at that point. But that's the sound of Texas. It really is.
It basically is gypsy swing, which they both scared the hell out of me at the start, man. Because when you watch the guitar players, they're not just going, staying one chord, one chord, one chord, one chord, second chord, second chord, second. They're moving up and down. Dun, 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 they're rolling, and dude, they're just moving up and down the fretboard constantly, and it's all so many inversions of chords all the time. And so at the start, that scared me because you're watching their hands go from the first fret to the 12th fret in seconds with all these different shapes. And I started learning gypsy jazz, started learning the rhythm sections to gypsy songs. And then I started practicing, Stay All Night by Bob Wills. Stay all night, stay a little
longer, yeah.
Dude, they're all just jazz chords the whole way through. Just gypsy swing style jazz chord progressions. But then they chuck a fiddle on top. And they chuck a cowboy hat on top too, and all of a sudden it's Western swing. Yeah, that's right. Dude, it's the same thing. It's amazing. And I was just talking to Laura, who she owns Cooks, where I'll be playing on Saturday, and she was talking about Bob Wills' nephew. I think it could be. There's a recording studio, and I wish I had the name there to give him a shout out, but she said that she was familiar with him, and he was in a jazz band. So it's interesting to see that the Bob Wills genetics have gone down.
Oh, yeah.
And bled straight back into jazz again,
Yeah, we have... Texas country is huge here, but it's just more of like a traditional version of what country music became. Is more 70s, 60s, 70s style into the 80s. And then country kind of took this pop turn. And for a while, it was it's fine, but now it's kind of gone off the rails with the pop music, and now we've got rap country and stuff. I can't deal with all that.
Yeah.
But I grew up a rock and roll fan, and as time went on, I ended up. If I could listen to anything, I'd listen to big band music all day.
Yeah.
Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller and Artie Shaw and all.
Me too, man.
It's fantastic. And it wasn't until much later I became friends with a guy whose dad is a steel guitar player, pedal steel player. In fact, he's the president of the Texas Steel Guitar Association.
Wow. And
so he's played with everybody, and he has a big convention every year. It's happening just this week or last week or something like that. It was last week here in DFW area, or down there in DFW area. And so I learned a lot from him about the history of Western swing. Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, you took country music, and because I wasn't familiar with any of this, even growing up in Texas. Like, I didn't know who Bob Wills was. And then there was this moment of understanding. Oh, wait a minute. This is a whole section of country music here in Texas that has traditional, like, swing and ragtime. And all of this combined with these great Texas instruments and incredible lyrics and fun songs, and just everything about it was exciting. And I just went all in, and I just learned as much as I could about that. And there's a joke going around that some people think about, you talk about old country music, and they're talking about people from the 90s. And I mean people from the 70s. I mean people from the 40s.
Yeah, me too, man.
That's what I want to hear. So, it's a whole different ball game.
It makes you really uncool these days.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm learning, dude. Everyone's into country now, right? Everyone's got bloody boots now, and they're doing their thing. And back home, it bled into Australia big time over the last 2 years. Everyone's into country.
Really?
I know. And then I'll say, oh, yeah, dude, so, Hank Williams. And they go, sorry?
What?
Yeah, dude, they're lost with it. I don't mean to. But and then you show them some Hank Williams, and they're like, what's this old stuff, man? This is not country.
Oh, well, when they talk about country, what do they mean?
Modern country. I'm thinking like they probably is it Morgan
Wallen.
I don't. Truthfully, I'm not trying to.
No, it's
I
fine.
haven't caught up with it, and I've always been like that though, dude. I haven't really. It's not that I don't want to listen to it. Like modern country, it probably they could change the name of the genre. That would be handy. The one that Beyonce won the Grammy and stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever. They could change the name. That would fix a lot of the issue, but. So be it. If it makes people go out and buy tickets to shows for other country artists, more authentic ones and stuff, then it's cool. This is how things work. They always come, they ebb and flow. They get some things peak and then they go down again. But it is a bit crazy that, you mentioned the names of like some old country artists and they don't, unless it's like sort of outlaw country. People really go for outlaw country.
They love
still.
that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that it was just that, so, that era of the Nashville sound was so watered down and boring, and everybody was sounding the same. And while there was a lot of great artists doing that, it just became a formula.
Yeah.
And every song was the same, and they had the same songwriters, and the same groups were, they're backup bands recording in the studio, and it was just getting a different vocalist on there. Let's find a song that sounds like something, so-and-so would sing, and to bring them in, but we'll have it already done, and they just hand them the lyrics and say, here's the melody, and sing it.
Yeah.
And there were people like Willie and those guys who were like, I don't want to do this. And they didn't fit in. They'd write songs, and they would say, nobody's going to sing this.
Yeah.
And he eventually just got sick of it and said, I'm going to Texas and doing it myself.
Yeah, man,
that rugged individualism, right? From
that Waylon Jennings song, Are You Sure That Hank Done It This Way?
Oh, yeah.
That's such a cool song because it's so true. He
Yeah.
talks about the rhinestone suits and, somebody told me when you go to Nashville, son, you're going to have it made. Old Hank made it here and we're sure that you will, but are you sure that Hank done it this way?
Right.
And that's so true, these days, like I said, I'm not here to rag on anything. I mean, so be it. The industry's always been an industry.
Yeah.
And these days, there's, money needs to be made still. People need to stay afloat. But I don't really go for that whole songwriter circle jerk thing that's going on in a lot of cities, where they just basically, I'm a songwriter. Everyone's a songwriter, right? Mm-hmm. And they just all pitch in one lyric each and they all sit around a table and I don't know what they get up to in their spare time. But that kind of thing, dude, that doesn't work, and that's just a money machine, and it's an ugly sort of. And man, you see songs come out, and hit songs, and they have 13 songwriters on them.
Yeah.
And only several lyrics, and I think, I wonder who put what into that song. It's got to be something going on, but that's not for me. It's never been like that, and I can't. I get sort of irked out real bad when I start hearing stories about that side of the machine, usually people in the music industry take a big leap forward when they're offered something in that vein. Do you know what I mean? If someone talks about, well, I've got a friend who runs a record label, or I know somebody that, he's a tour booking agent for all these big artists, and when I start hearing the way they're talking and how it's handled like a real business sort of thing, marketing machine sort of. I usually take a step back, and that's why it's you do end up working for yourself, and I'm also not saying I'm not blocking off. I eventually will need management because the load has actually gotten to the point where I would. It's good actually. I always said I would look for management when the load got a bit too heavy to bear, and it's getting that way. So it's a good sign. I'd love a booking agent. I'd love to go on tour with, new modern artists and go out there and support them in shows and stuff. So all that stuff, of course, you're always going to be rising for something like that. But when it comes to just the whole corporate money machine thing and those sort of fake offers, you can smell them from a mile away.
It's one of the cool things about the Texas country scene is that, and this was kind of started by those outlaw guys, that it wasn't about selling records, it was about performing live, and they had a big enough following and enough clubs and venues that they could tour just through Texas and Oklahoma and the southern region, out to New Mexico, but in the South. Even into Tennessee, but mostly in Texas. It's a huge place, and there's a club everywhere, and people will travel to see these artists. And so it kind of set it up in a way to where they didn't have to rely on the industry for their income. They didn't have to rely on record sales for their income. They could simply go from show to show, performance to performance, and city to city, and still have a good crowd night after night after night. And it's like the old days with the Rat Pack, where you go to see Dean Martin, and he'll sing 12 songs, but the last 2 songs, Frank will wander up on stage and sing with him, or Sammy, and they used to have it on the signs, Frank and Dean and maybe Sammy. Like, he might just show up when he's done with his set over at the Sands. It's kind of like that. You never know which combination of people you're going to see at these shows, whether it's, people just randomly showing up and playing with them, or, multiple people on one set. And it's worked out to where they can sustain themselves like that. Of course, they have to play forever live. They can't just sit back and say, oh, I'll just continue to collect royalties. They got to keep playing, but that's kind of what they want to do.
Yeah, I think that's it. Once they've locked in that, it's very similar to what I'm doing, and it's identical to what a lot of friends of mine have done back home in Australia. Is, you can usually choose two directions. You can put yourself in a position where you're working for yourself, but you're going to go through a lot of years of building that up. You're not going to. There's no overnight success, and you're going to be building. If you can get 1 to 2 fans per show, you're doing it right. It's a long process, and you just come through town.
That's what I do with my podcast.
Yeah, dude. Dude, I'm the same, man. It really is. It's such a slow burn that it's enough to put people off big time. Musicians, sorry, to make them deviate and go and find another profession. And I don't blame them. I'm 10 years in now, and I'm only now to the point where 4 out of 10 shows are really good, and then the rest suck. But before it was 10 out of 10 shows sucked, and then it was 9 out of 10 shows sucked. And you're getting. It was just that one show that didn't suck that gave you enough hope to get to the next one. And now I'm getting to the point where I don't have to do as many crap shows, but I still have to. You're always going to go down that route.
Yeah.
And that happened to everyone. But you do get to the point, that's why I'm here in Whitesboro as well, because I'm not going to, you're not aiming for the stars, because if you're going to be doing that, you're going down the second route I was talking about. And that's, you're putting yourself in a position of volatility. You've only performed a few times before, and then all of a sudden you're on tour all over the world or something, and that's where you get chewed up and spat out really quick. And obviously what you're doing is not set up for longevity. You know what I mean? You can't deviate from what you're doing because it won't sell anymore. Whereas, for me, I was putting out albums of blues because I knew that people love my blues music. I love the blues. I don't know how often I can write the blues. It's impossible for me to keep making blues music. But because I'm not in one of those volatile positions, I'm not signed to anybody. I've got my own home studio. Yeah. My new record coming out is psychedelic indie. I wouldn't even know what to call it. It's just, and then there's a couple country songs on there, and there's just some really new modern stuff that I've been making. The album Memory Hoarders that's coming out in August, ideally, and I've been promoting that for a while now, and my fans will give me the time to listen to it, because they've been with me for 10 years, and so they're not ready to spit me out. They're going to keep listening, and they're going to follow what I'm doing, because now they're part of the journey and they've seen it all progress.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it, is getting to the point where the fan base is beholden to the artist regardless of what they're doing. They'll go along that journey with them. And you talked about Lou Reed earlier. I don't know that there's anybody that did more of a wide range of stuff than the Velvet Underground. I mean, they were doing, you name it, and they did it, whether it was straight rock and roll, psychedelic stuff, crazy stuff that they did with, panning vocals. And, they have a great song. I can't remember the name of it, but one guy's telling the story on the left speaker.
Sure.
And the entire thing is 6 minutes, and it's just a guy telling the story of this, it's a long story. But on the other speaker, you have this incredible, this psychedelic, noise almost, and it's like, what is this? This is art at this point, whether you like it or not. It's some kind of pushing the envelope. Mm-hmm. And then the very next track on the album is, rock and roll or something. The song rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, how does he just write a simple tune and can appreciate it, and then goes off and writes, some of these All Tomorrow's Parties or some kind of crazy, really pushing Venus and Furs, pushing that envelope. And the fan base will go along with you when you change. There's some people that you'll leave behind, but for the most part, people love the mind of the artist.
Mm-hmm.
They love there are certain musicians, Tom Waits, Ben Folds, that I just understand them somehow. Sometimes you just connect with an artist and you get what they're saying. You get what they mean. And regardless of what they do, you're on board.
Yeah.
And they change and you change and it works. So finding that group that's the hardest part of all. Those people that will stay loyal to you no matter what you do.
Yeah, I think you got to be really convinced in what you're doing yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bob Dylan did that. You know, as soon as he made his huge following as a folk artist, he left them all behind.
Picked up an electric.
Yeah, picked up an electric, but it was worth it. You know, and you know, I actually had that issue over the last couple of weeks, man. I mean, I've been touring the USA and doing some shows, and finally, like, really getting the momentum that I've been working for. And I'm glad that I didn't get too discouraged to the point I gave up or anything, because there was periods there where, you know, especially over COVID, you're not selling many tickets, and
right.
You know, the horizon looks pretty bare. And we just sold out 2 shows, and this weekend looks great. Houston's looking great too, on top of Dallas. Well, we shouldn't say Dallas, Whitesboro. Sorry,
that's all right.
I always disconnect the nearest city,
sure.
You know. But Whitesboro, dude, these things took a long time to build up to, and so I'm just really proud that they're working. But yeah, I've had to find this sort of strength in putting out what I want to put out creatively without worrying what people will think. And I've always been pretty good with that, because my second album that I ever put out, you know, ironically, people always say to me, like, oh, gee, this is different from the blues stuff you do. My first 2 records that was so different to blues. My second album, I can't even pronounce the album title because it's like a French word. Okay, it's like anxious or something. Anxious, it's French and anxious.
All right.
And that was just a psychedelic rock cacophony of, I don't even know what you would. It was crazy. I was doing a lot of sampling and stuff. When I started, just after I started playing guitar, actually, I was making hip hop beats and things. And so I've never cared. I've always been making everything. So nothing actually really changed. But to be said, with the new record, you know, the last few albums before this have been very blues oriented. And then all of a sudden, I'm putting out a record now that doesn't have any blues songs on it. And it can't have any blues songs on it because it's a piece, it's an artwork, and there was just no room for a blues song. You know, it starts off with 2 pretty like head-banging psychedelic rock songs, and then the second half of I've actually planned it out in sides. So eventually I'm going to get it pressed to vinyl. So you got the first side and the second side. It's only a 30-minute record. The first half of the vinyl's pretty psychedelic, and it's using a lot of sampling. And then the second half is finger-picking sort of country-ish songs. And yeah, dude.
Quite the combination.
Yeah, dude, quite the combination. But it couldn't have been anything else. But it was hard because I was hanging with some friends the other day, and they're really dear friends of mine, Jet and Callie. They're from Chattanooga in Tennessee. And gee, they're good at what they do, you know. Jet was a talent buyer for a long time, and he still is a talent buyer. And, you know, he was always honest with me. He is always honest with me. And I showed him my new record, and I said, dude, what do I do? I'm on tour. I'm selling out shows, finally. There's all this momentum, and I'm starting to hang with people that have, like, you know, things have been just really moving. It's been ridiculous, actually. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to try and ride that wave. And on top of that, I'm getting on stage, though, playing blues and ragtime and finger... You know what I mean? People are going, wow, he's a blues cat. And then I'm like, here's this new record coming out, and it's completely different. Is that a cool thing? It could be. It's not a great marketing job. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how it should be. If you've got momentum in what you're doing on stage, you'd be putting out another live album. Mm-hmm. But my last record was a live record. So I showed them my album, and I just sat there with them, and I said, look, it's finished, so I can't change anything. But your opinion, you know, is it too alienating right now to put out, you know, whilst this is all happening? And they said exactly what you said, in other words. But it was really, really liberating, actually, to hear that people just like the artist. And they said to me, it still sounds like you. They like your voice, and they like you. So they're going to like the music. And if there's going to be people that, like, don't like it, do you really want them listening to your music all the time?
Right.
If they're going to be that hypercritical. So I like what you said there. And, like, ideally, I want to be in a position where they like the mind of the artist. Because the new works I'm doing, they're not selling out at all. It's the opposite. If I was selling out, ironically, I'd be doing a country blues record, getting the biggest cats in town to be playing on it. You know what I mean? Finding every contact. And I'm doing the opposite. I'm releasing an indie album from my bedroom, and it's my favorite record. It's a great record. It really is. Like, I'm so proud of it because it came out. It's the only one. It's my 10th album that I've put out, and it's the only one that I have ever made where I can listen to it and think like, damn, this sounds good. All the rest of them I was really critical.
Yeah.
This one sounds good.
This is the one that you feel most confident in.
Yeah, it's a great album, man. So I just have to back in that, I'm not just a blues guy. I like making music, and, because it was recorded at home, it also has to be representative of my skills as an engineer and a recording artist too,
There's a ton of songs on here, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I think there's about 130 released songs so far. Some, it might be about 20 that are covers, but the rest have been original.
Yeah, so what are your favorite covers to play? What artists and, like Saturday, what you play any covers? What can people expect?
With covers, a lot of them are old blues songs that have been not reworked, but, Aaronized a bit. But
right.
a lot of, 1920s blues songs. I do a lot of Robert Johnson stuff. I can't help it because, Robert Johnson gets played a lot in the blues world, but, I'm just the biggest fan of Robert Johnson. I love his guitar work, so I'll be doing a lot of Delta blues, 1920s and 30s blues songs that.
But do you know his secret 30th song?
No. Okay, well, yes, okay, I do, but I'm not sure about it. So, Robert Johnson's stepson, is it stepson? There's the other, Robert Lockwood Jr.
Okay.
Robert Lockwood Jr. says, has a video of him playing a song that Robert Johnson taught him when he was a kid. And it's called Mr. Down... maybe Mr. Downhearted or Mr. something like that. That's supposed to be the 30th song. Is that the one? Is that what you've heard before?
There's been talk about that forever. It's always been the thing, right? And then everybody.
Sorry, I got it. Mr. Downchild.
Mr. Downchild.
Mr. Downchild.
Okay, I gotta hear that.
I think there's a video of him saying that was a song that Robert played a lot.
So. Robert Johnson, great blues player from the 20s, died mysteriously at a very young age. Much has been said about that. The whole story about how he sold his soul to the devil to learn how to play overnight. He was incredibly good type thing. And they made a movie Crossroads about it, if you've never seen that. Yeah. You're so young. I don't know if you did. Ralph Macchio?
Yeah, of course I've seen that one. I know, and they have the guitar, jewel off at the end.
Yeah. With
is it Steve Vai?
It is Steve Vai. Good job. That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And then Steve Vai is doing this most ridiculous guitar stuff, and then he's just playing some slide,
Which is Ry Cooder, actually.
It's all Ry Cooder. And man,
yeah.
the playoff at the end is, it's so silly. It's so one-sided. I mean, he's great and all, but if this is really a contest, Steve Vai is forget it.
Yeah, that's it.
But the rest of the movie's music is also Ry Cooder, and man, it's so good. All of those songs are just incredible, and that the ending is the popular part everybody knows about. But the rest of it is the thing that's so beautiful. Yeah, but so Robert Johnson wrote 29 songs, recorded them all, and then there's this story that there's a 30th song that nobody knows what happened to it. I guess. That's
Mr. Downchild. What I like about Robert Johnson is I've actually got the tattoo right here of him. So
really? That's the famous picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the portrait of him there in the booth. And his half sister. Wow, I wish I got that right. I hope I did get it right. It's his half sister. Just put out a book called Brother Robert. Not just put out. Maybe it was about 5 years ago now. That's not good, man.
Yeah.
In my mind, it was just...
Wait till it's 20 years. Yeah.
Okay, but that just came out, dude. It's called Brother Robert, And, you know, we've only ever seen 2 legitimate photos of Robert Johnson ever. Me being obsessed with him and just obsessed with the law and his history and the music, like, you know, mainly. But there's only 2 identified legitimate photos of him. And all of a sudden, she releases this book. She's in her 90s, and it's called Brother Robert. And the front cover is the 3rd ever photo of him.
Really?
That was given to her by Robert Johnson. She went with him, you know, that famous photo where he's in the booth on his own.
Yeah.
Well, she was with him that day, and she walked down to Bill Street with him in Memphis, and he was carrying his guitar, and they went down there, and he went to the booth, took those photos, and gave her one of them. And she didn't want anyone seeing that because that was her personal. And he's smiling, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not like
you
this.
don't see that.
Nah, he's smiling there. And, dude, reading everything she knew about him, he did not sell his soul to the devil, obviously. Right. The odds were off for that anyway. But, you know, like, she was talking about how the local preacher at the church would always talk about you're at a crossroads in your life. And, you know, she knows that a lot of the lyrics came from what he was learning at the time. And, you know, she said that he would sit around the house and his favourite thing was tuning into the Grand Ole Opry. And his favourite singer was Jimmy Rogers.
Yeah.
And dude, they were sitting around the house and he would always sing Waiting for a Train by Jimmy Rogers. And you know how refreshing that was to hear, man? Because, like, out there in the world, there are a lot of gatekeepers of the blues. A lot of people that don't like to mix country and blues music. And little do they know that Robert Johnson, you know, he was an itinerant musician. He needed money. He was out on the streets playing all the hits of the day. So he was playing big band swing songs, you know, probably In the Mood, depending on what year that came out. I think he was doing songs like that, the 30s big band dance songs to get people dancing and make some money.
Yep. And
his favourite artist was Jimmy Rogers. And that's just so refreshing, right?
It is.
That's why I like them both. To me, I never saw any difference between what they were doing. And I've been like that ever since the start. Like, I never said, you know, Jimmy Rogers is country and he yodels and Robert Johnson is this. Dude, Robert Johnson's just as country in a lot of the guitar playing as Jimmy Rogers is. And so for me to read that, it solidified something in me that, you know, that they were doing the same thing. They were just making good music, you know, and that was it.
Who was the guitarist that people expect you to like, but you don't like?
Oh, good one, man. Oh, okay. I'll say somebody that's passed away, just in case I lose any ties there, huh? No, I actually there are a lot. There are many that I don't understand why people like them, but they do. If that makes any sense. But I can't. Also, like I said before, I've learnt to get to a point where I will answer that question too, actually, by the way. But I've got to a point where if somebody's, you know, taking off and they're super famous and they're doing everything right, I can either do 2 things. I can get bitter and just, you know, grunt about it, or I can think, okay, so what are they doing that's different?
Right.
What are they doing that people are catching on to that I'm not? And so I've been using the second, you know, option a lot more recently, and that helps. But to answer your question, dude, let's just say I've never really gotten into, like, super shredding guitarists.
Sure.
Slash, I get why it's good and it's intricate. I'm not really into Slash. Van Halen's cool because I know that he was very versatile outside of what he was doing. But
he played Big Bad Bill, man.
Yeah.
His dad played clarinet on that. That's a great song.
I know. It's just things like that. Like, I don't really listen. There's a lot of probably stuff like that is I don't think they're that good. Let's just say there's a lot of modern artists that I see taking off, and everyone's just like, wow, they're the next Hendrix.
Yeah.
And I can't express how far off from Hendrix they are. But no, I do. I appreciate everything, man. And I'm getting to the point where I appreciate all musicians. But Clapton's really good. Clapton's really clean. And you get to a point where you start realizing how clean he's playing. And man, I watched this video. There's a video of them doing it's Blind Faith.
Yep.
And they're doing Can't Find My Way Home. And is it live? It's not Woodstock. They didn't do Woodstock. Maybe they did. It's an old concert from that era.
Okay.
And wow, I wish I could remember it was. But it is such a good version. And his guitar playing in the back is just ridiculously good, man.
He's
so
really
good.
clean.
He's clean, but he's doing everything right. He's not overplaying.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in the back. His tone is so dialed in. It's so good. Like, he's always had such a good guitar tone. No, I that's one I do like fully respect. You know,
Jeff Beck.
he's a virtuoso, in the sense that, like, he played a lot of classical guitar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another one that he goes in the he's a freak.
Eric Johnson. Do you know him?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Talk about clean
of course,
and tone.
Of course.
Yeah, Cliffs of Dover.
Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good, man. I haven't listened to him in a long time. Damn, I got to jump back on this stuff. I got to get more into it. No, these guys. I thought you were meaning probably more modern guitarists. Actually.
Oh no.
No, these guys are all very good, man. I wanted an Eric Johnson Strat after watching him play.
I get that.
I've always thought I'm pretty lame with my opinion on who's the greatest electric guitarist. I really think Jimi Hendrix is.
Yeah,
I can't change that. You know,
it's he's one of those guys that not only was he incredibly talented as just a straight guitar player, but was, I mean, the biggest thing that he brought was the innovation, the totally rethinking the electric guitar, and the usage of distortion and feedback, and not just in the performances, but to treat a guitar that way had not really been done. I guess the Who, Townsend had done some of that, but to think of it as a tool and not just like, treat it, with kid gloves. He really said, what can this piece of wood and metal do? And then beyond that, an incredible songwriter. And when he did do covers, like All Along the Watchtower, he completely redid it. Like, it was definitely his. That's not a Dylan tune anymore. And just came to life with that, and had the ability to be as versatile as any guitarist in history. You listen to him on the solo at the end of Voodoo Child, it's totally different feel than he's sitting down and doing, Little Wing. It's like the most tender, beautiful, touching, soft, and everything about it was just, he treated it with such respect. Angel is another one.
that's a good tune, man.
Everything that he did, it was pushing. It's like, I like to make pizza. I'm not really good at it, but getting the dough to spread out to the edges and stay is the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
And if anybody has any tips on that, please let me know, because it's a pain. But I feel like that's what he was doing. He was in the middle, and everybody was, crowding in, and he just like pushed in every direction at once and said, I'm going to do this, and it's never been done. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Some people push in one direction, and it takes that, it takes it that direction. They're successful. But he pushed in every direction, and it spread the entire, what it means to play guitar.
Yeah, and it was always for the sake of the song. So that's important. Like, to me, Hendrix has always been a songwriter first. That's what people overlook because of the fire and the burning the guitar and the flames and the LSD and all the stuff. But he wrote gorgeous songs. Like you said, Little Wing, Castles Made of Sand.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite songs is My Friend. That's off of.
I don't know that one.
I don't know which record. Maybe it's called Cry of Love. I think the album's called.
Okay, yeah.
I need to revisit all this stuff, but that's one of my favorites. And he was a beautiful songwriter. So ironically, even though he's doing all of these fancy things with the pedals and the guitar behind the back and stuff, it was always still in the confines of the song. And that's where, like, to really answer your question before, I don't really know if there's guitarists that I dislike. There's guitarists that I'd rather not listen to. It sounds like I'm being polite, but it's everybody's got their own spot in things, but I more so just don't like people that overplay. Which is ironic because I'm overplaying in a sense, right? Because but I'm on stage and I'm doing all the bass line, I'm doing all the lead solos and things, but but it's still in the spirit of the song, It's still like it. I do as much as possible where it's got a place. If anybody's just up there, just shredding it and killing it, and the song goes missing out in the abyss, then to me that doesn't make a good guitarist.
I think one of my favorite guitarists is Neil Schon from Journey, because while he was a rock guitarist and did a lot of shredding, he also had these moments where he was just as clear as a bell and beautiful solos. Dave Gilmour from Pink Floyd, one of my favorites without a doubt. That's the most. That's the guy that got the closest to turning his solos into the human voice, I think. He really did a wonderful job at that. But you talked about Eric Johnson and Clapton as being clean. You're an incredibly clean player. I've been watching this stuff thinking, man, this guy. In fact, can we show one? I want to show it. One of these short ones here. Let's do this.
So this one, if this is the one we're playing, this was in 2020, actually.
Okay, let's see this, because I've been digging this tune this week. Let's see here if I can get this up. Here we go.
See what you have done. You made me love you, now your man has come. You made me love you, now your friend has come. You made me love you, now your friend has come. A big tall engine, little old engineer, took my woman away, Lord, left me standing here. Took my woman away, Lord, left me standing here. Took my woman away, Lord, left me standing here. To my second mind, I don't believe I'd be here wringing my hands and crying. I don't believe I'd be here wringing my hands and crying. I don't believe I'd be here wringing my hands and crying. If you see Karina, tell her to hurry home. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone. Oh yeah. See what you have done. You made me love you, now your man has come. You made me love you, now your man has come. You made me love you, now your man has come. There's no more good loving, the muscles killed the vine. But the blues ain't nothing but a good woman on your mind. And the blues ain't nothing but a good woman on your mind. No, the blues ain't nothing but a good woman on your mind. I ain't seen my good girl in 3 long weeks today. I ain't seen my good girl in 3 long weeks today. Girl, it's been so long, feel like my heart gon' break. Girl, it's been so long, feel like my heart gon' break. You see Karina, tell her to hurry home. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone. I ain't had no true love since my girl's been gone.
That's quite an interpretation of that, too. That's fantastic, man. That's really great.
Man, well, look, if I can say, and it's not in like a critical way, but wow, I haven't seen that for 5 years. And I'm just watching that, and you were saying before that I'm really clean. I'm just watching that thinking, God damn, there were so many parts that were so unclean, which is a good thing, smooth, man. I've still been working on that a lot,
When I see that, I think, man, the finger picking style is difficult in itself already, having to play multiple parts. But to do it that clean and to do it in such a percussive rhythmic fashion while you're singing the lyrics in that fashion, keeping that same thing and going back and forth between different styles between verse and chorus. Man, that's just so much work you're doing. You are working your butt off with that song, man. Yeah. I mean, that's...
It is. It's slightly overworking, you know. Man, especially when I'm on stage, like live, man, I'm sweating and I remember I did something really uncool once, but you know, I went through a phase of wearing a Fitbit. I think we've all been there. You probably got the same thing. Yep. You know, I should get it back. Actually, no, I don't want to know about it at the moment. But I had I was going through the Fitbit stage, and I was running and stuff a lot. And I was doing a show, and it was a 3-hour show, and that's still common for me to be playing like 3-4 hour long shows, just because it's hard to get me off stage. I love performing, right? But I remember my Fitbit told me that I did an intense workout just with the way I was performing, and I was dripping sweat, and so I didn't realize how fit this thing was keeping me over the years. That's probably why I'm still here, you know, like just singing and performing like that all day, yeah, like with the hands and the thumb moving, and I just noticed then actually, which I never even picked up on, but I noticed by the end of that song I was jumping into that whole Texas swing thing. Yeah. That ding, 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 that sound, I must have been already capturing that at the time, you know.
Texas swing. How does I mean, obviously, Australia has its own artists. Yeah. But like, if I had to name them, I got Men at Work. We were joking about them earlier. Yeah. We got Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Some of AC/DC is from Australia.
Yeah, they were all Australian.
Oh, maybe the original. I think the original singer was, but the new singer. Yeah, well, from 1980. Yeah, that guy. Right, yeah, he's from Scotland, I think. Bon Scott, I think was Australian.
He was Australian. Yeah. Yep. Oh God, if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, you should know this, man.
I don't know, dude. You guys know more about stuff than we do, and then I know stuff about here. You know, it's just how it kind of all role reversed a bit.
I don't know that I could name another Australian musician.
In Excess?
Are they Australian?
Yeah. Tame Impala?
Who?
Tame Impala?
I don't know that.
Oh, God. That's homework, that? Dude. That's Kevin Parker. He's a solo artist, but he goes under the band Tame Impala.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I didn't know In Excess was
It's a more modern artist that, to me, could be the best artist.
I'm old, man.
Doesn't matter, man. You hear this stuff everywhere, you know. Yeah, In Excess were... now we've had a lot of famous artists come out.
I don't doubt it. I just don't know them.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
So what is it about? How does it feel to have? I know this is a weird question, but how does it feel to have the pop culture of a country on the other side of the world being the main culture that disseminates to your country? That would be like that'd be like if everybody listened to Korean music here.
I know. It's a little bit different because we speak the same language. It does help.
Yeah, I guess we had that with the Beatles and the Stones for a while, right? In the 60s.
Yeah, being in English does help. Actually, that's true though. But American music has taken the whole world now. Well, for one, it's always been like this, but it's more the fashion side of things. Musicians these days are also models and influencers and all that stuff. So
I think the world was better off when ugly people could make music.
Yeah, that's right. Well, ugly people can, but they need to be on TikTok and they need filters. Dude, I think what happened is that Australia had a really amazing live music scene. If it's still the same, if some people say it's still amazing, we've got our pockets. Our psychedelic rock scene's incredible. Our alternative, indie music's really good coming out of it. But in general, so Australia used to have many, many, many live music venues and live music bars. That was and I wasn't around to see that, unfortunately, but the 70s and the 80s, and even the 90s, the early 90s, people were going out to bars, and that was your weekend out, as you saw AC/DC, and you saw all these bands come through, and and they supported them, and it was part of the pub scene. You know, that's what they were doing, and that's how they sold their records, and that's how they toured. And we have a thing back home. I think the culture sort of started dying off when we call them the pokies. You guys call them like slot machines.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we call them the pokies, right?
I kind of like that better.
Yeah, pokies. So that's what venues started. So gambling is, free reign in Australia. It's always been like that. We love our gambling, and we've always loved sports betting, and we were putting multi-bets on years ago and all that stuff. It's all about horse racing. We have a public holiday for a horse race in Melbourne.
Really?
Yeah, for the Melbourne Cup. So it's always been in our blood to gamble, which is not great. But at the time, venues started realizing, hey, we can get these slot machines, pokies, put into the bars, and they all have mini casinos, right? So you can go out to your local bar, and instead of having a dance floor now, they just have a 24-hour pokies.
Oh.
Dude, they're all
they're
like
little
that.
casinos.
Little casinos. They're everywhere.
With a band, maybe.
Nah.
There's not even any bands?
Nah, not really, no. Those venues don't. They're the ones that majority of, at least where I'm from, in Victoria, they would take out the stages and put in these pokies. Because, 100% profit all the time, people drinking 24 hours a day.
So bizarre.
Yeah, and it killed that live rock scene. It did kill it. So you're always going to have these things that are still alive. I was performing in Melbourne for many years, and I still do. But there's a rock scene, but not like it was. Not like the way they used to. All the things they used to tell me about it. All the bands you would see come through. So we've become pretty Americanized recently, dude. Like the country music scene has just absolutely killed it. Who's that one that's really big now? I was like this, that's really hard to that's very vague. But
Morgan Wallen?
No, he's massive. Actually, I think he's in Australia at the moment. Or recently.
Oh wait, y'all got Keith Urban. Isn't he Australian?
Yeah, I don't know if we actually like him though. I don't know. I don't know one of his songs, dude. That's the weird thing. He's a good guitarist though.
Oh yeah,
he's a great guitarist. So, but no, I'm honestly not too familiar with his stuff. But I'm so sorry, man. There's someone that's just massive. Is it because
I don't know.
Did something about the orange? Something in the orange?
Oh yeah.
God, we sound.
Cody Johnson? Is that Cody Johnson?
No, it's not him though.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm telling you, I like Bob Wills.
At least you've got an excuse, probably like an age excuse. I don't at this point. But anyway, this guy, they're all. Who said Cody Johnson? I don't think it's.
I don't know.
I reckon it's so.
One
far
of those
up.
Guys. Who did something? We gotta look this up.
No, Jesus, man, that goes to show that I'm not lying when I. Anyway, he's massive.
Okay.
In Australia now, and everybody love it, and everybody's gone down the country route. Everybody's buying a Dodge Ram, dude.
Oh, jeez.
They're following
Zach Bryan.
Zach Bryan, yeah, that's
yeah. I should have known that. I should have. I'm embarrassed.
He's really famous now, and he's talent. Like, they're very, very good. Like, I understand why they become famous. They found something that works, and people, they're good songwriters, man. It's got nothing to do with their writing, but it's just that the culture has bled over to Australia big time, and our car parks don't even fit these Dodge Rams half the time, dude. We weren't designed for that sort of thing. So it's strange because look, here's me being hypercritical, right? All I listened to growing up was American music. And so fair enough. Actually, I wouldn't be complaining if they were all listening to Hank Williams.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'd be on top of the world. So I can't complain, really. But no, it is strange. We've always been at mercy to the American music scene and the British music scene too. We've always been, second rate to that stuff. But I think now it's bleeding more over in like commercial culture and consumerist culture too. We're buying the things and they're trying to dress the part, and it's a bit weird.
If you walked into a room with 10 Australians and 10 Americans at random, and they didn't talk, do you think you could pick out the Australians based on their look, their clothes and stuff? Yeah, their mannerisms. Definitely. Musically, are you an anomaly? over there? When you tell them that you like Robert Johnson and these artists, do they know who that is? I mean, are they as aware? Did you have access because your dad was a player to this style of music and others did not? Or is it across the board, you all know what we know about music history, and you just chose that?
We know what you know.
Okay.
When we're still not as it's a population thing, man. You know, like you guys can have like your your sort of niche genres still staying alive just because of population density. So that, the blues world out here will always survive, just because selling 200 tickets isn't necessarily difficult out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a population of, I don't know, 26, 27 million. Might be rising now, but for us, like,
it's like a 12th of what we have.
Yeah, dude, it's we're a lot smaller. We know our music. People know what I'm doing. But they're harder to catch, right? Like, if I could catch 5 fans here, what did you say? It's a 12. So for every show, I could get 12 fans at a show here.
Yeah,
that means one back home. But we know our music, and we have a lot of music lovers, and we have a really good radio scene. In sense of like
that's something we've lost, I think, for sure.
Really, our community radio is still really, really cool. Like, people respect it, people tune into it. People want to know like the local artists and the things like that. Like, for the blues world, that's been kept alive really well. And they still buy CDs back home, man. Like, I sell more CDs way more than streams or online.
Really?
Like, you're looking at like 100 times more. Like, there's so many more.
Wow.
CDs like sell for me at festivals and everything. People buy them much more because they want the hard copy of music. They don't want to stream. They don't go through the
there's
things.
something to be said for that. Actually owning it.
Yeah, we're it just really is a population thing. Music over there has been there's a pretty low ceiling for how far things can escalate. You know what I mean? Like, you can get to a point where you've done it all, and you'll just be doing the circuit, and you still pick up fans as you go, but the ceiling's far lower than coming out this way and playing for 40 million people or something ridiculous. And
that's the thing that's always I've always wondered that, and there's no way to ask it without making it sound like, oh, America, we're the standard, right? But it does seem like artists will get to a certain point of popularity in their country and then be like, okay, I've done it here. There's nothing left to accomplish here. We'll move to America and make it work there because the mass of people. And I guess there's other countries that have more people, obviously, but no, I don't know that people are going to India and playing their style of music. So America's the place. But there's got to be, like you said, the circuit. There's got to be artists that don't have interest in that. They want to stay in their country. They want to they're content with that. They have their fans. That's what they want to do. They don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, but they don't want to deal with the rat race. I mean, you can't blame somebody for not wanting to go join the Nashville rat race and try and make it off the ground there, because it's just people stepping all over each other to accelerate. And, a lot of musicians aren't designed for that, man. They're not built for climbing the corporate ladder in a way. They need to be in their own headspace, and they don't mind just having a little house by the beach and with a recording studio. And I'm getting that way too, like, I think when it comes to, there are some, Europe does like blues really, really well. Japan has a really big blues scene.
Really?
They love Australian and American blues artists going over there. They have an interesting culture with it because they don't pay you to play. You just you don't go over there and just ask for money. You just you start from the bottom, but if people like you, they will jump on board, and they really back you, because they have a big guitar fan base too. They love the guitar in Japan. So America isn't the only spot, but it's well, let's just say I have a lot of American friends who it makes their careers look better going over to Europe or Australia and doing tours. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's ironic.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
people from America need to go to another country to be like, wow, they got out of there.
Yeah,
And
yes,
they
I
had
see
followings
that.
all over the world. Whereas for Australians, if you start touring America and, especially like now that I'm selling shows, it just makes it all look more just professional and more sorted back home. It's funny how it's all about perception,
Are you enjoying your time over here? Sounds like it.
I love it, man. I've always loved it. I've always wanted to come back as much as possible. I have a fiance now. I recently got engaged.
Congratulations.
So, thank you, man. I'm over the moon, and I couldn't be happier. So, my mind is in a few spaces now. We're getting married in Colombia, so she's Colombian. I love it over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in Bogota.
Down there.
Yeah, down there. That's weird to think, right? Yeah, see, for me, yeah, okay, yep, down there. Down in Colombia. I've spent a lot of time there, and I love it there. So, it has been strange to find a third place that I call home.
Yeah.
Because, I was always back and forth from here, and the US has always been my home, actually. Maybe that's why I gravitated towards the music, or maybe that's why I gravitate, I don't know if it's, what do they say, like the chicken or the egg? It's like,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if I like the music because I've got a connection here, or I've got a connection here because I like the music. I'm not too sure, but always loved it over here. Everybody have taken me in and just looked after me. Like, I get looked after all the time. It's just ridiculous, man. Like, I'm being looked after by Laura here, and she's looking after me in town, getting like full Southern hospitality. They took me out for all you can eat.
Oh.
Shrimp. I was about to say prawns. See, we say prawns back home.
Uh-huh.
Or you can eat shrimp and crawfish.
Yeah.
You call it crawfish, right? I
Yeah.
think we call it crayfish. But so, dude, I was eating that tonight. All you can eat in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Say it again.
Oklahoma. Why?
Sorry.
The way. Shut up, man. Oklahoma. I went out to Oklahoma and had some shrimp and crawfish.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like
you
a different,
sound like a Texan,
different
man.
language, dude. I went out and did that, and just yesterday I left. I was in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with a friend over in God knows who, about an hour out of Atlanta, and he's a very, very nice man. His name is Tim, and I've met him along my travels too. And he had a bed for me. And then the day before that, I was leaving Chattanooga, and someone else had a bed for me. And
That's awesome.
everything's really cool.
You're living the life.
Dude, the only catch, I love it all, right? There's just one catch, is that you do get sick of changing beds.
Yeah, I bet.
Dude, your back, man. like that. Now it sounds like I'm being lame, right? Like being feeling old.
Wait a few years, buddy.
Dude, your back. It finally adjusts to one bed,
Uh-huh.
and then the next day you're on this like other thing, and that's the only thing that you can get a little bit tired of. Is like you want to be in the same bed every now and then, but I chose that a long time ago when I decided to live on the road a bit.
What's the music scene like in Colombia?
I don't know yet. So my fiance, she's really good at like looking up, like she does not. I don't get to go out on my own and hang out.
Yeah.
Yet, I'm still, because my Spanish isn't very good. I'm definitely getting.
Oh, wait, time out. I've got to hear you say something in Spanish.
Okay. I'll just say hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hey, that sounds pretty good, man.
It's not too bad.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. Okay, so and I say mi prometida de Colombia, which is me.
Hey, man, that's better than we do.
Okay, well, I'm trying, right? And I'm learning enough, so I'm still not there yet. But she's always, over caring, so she doesn't want me going out on my own. So I haven't really hit, like, gone out and checked out all the live music scene and connected with the bands because I can't communicate with them properly. But Bogota is an interesting city because it's not necessarily a tourist city. So to find somebody that speaks English is pretty few and far between. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's. But to answer your question, what's the music scene like? It's really cool. I like the music they play there a lot, and they do like Western music just as good as all of us. Dude.
Really?
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't know how they. Dude, I saw like a Jimi Hendrix cover band.
No.
Posted. Yeah, and, dude. I tell you now, man. Like, you know what I always find fascinating is so my fiance's name's Angie.
Okay.
And I asked
say
her,
hi, Angie.
Yeah, say hello to Angie.
Yeah, there you go.
I say hola.
Yeah, there you go. Hola.
Hola, Angie. And first thing I asked Angie was, oh, well, were you named after the Rolling Stones song, Angie?
Yeah.
She said, yeah, must have been. My mum likes the Rolling Stones.
Wow.
And then, for months and months we were talking about all these musicians, you name it. Angie knows all the bands and stuff. And then I met her mum, and her mum doesn't speak English. And it just clicked to me. I was like, so her whole life, like, she's been listening to, like, they buy tickets to go, my fiance went and saw Miley Cyrus in Bogota not long ago, a few years ago, and she didn't know much English at the time. And I'm just thinking, so the whole time you're watching this concert, but you're not really understanding what they're saying. And that's the equivalent to us watching something, maybe in French or in Spanish, like, you're not, that's fascinating. Mm-hmm. Because, dude, everybody's got, like, you see, like, the Led Zeppelin T-shirts, and you see, like, the Rolling Stones. Like, these artists are big there, man. Hendrix is still huge in South America. Yet, majority of people probably aren't understanding the lyrics.
That's really interesting. You see concerts where American artists will go to Japan, and they all sing the syllables. They're making the same sounds. But I don't know that they know. Maybe they do. I don't know. But it's always strange because, the singer will quit singing, and then this huge crowd of people from Tokyo will know all the words. But it's like...
I find that really fascinating. That goes to show that they're listening to it in a completely different light.
Yeah.
And they're probably not criticizing it or just overthinking it the way we do. They're probably listening more to the music. And I'm guessing Latin American culture has always been like that too. It's always about rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So if the rhythm's good, and they will just dance to anything. They love dancing, man. So that's the thing that I think is probably, they gravitate towards that side more.
See, that's the problem, is that we are kind of compartmentalized as Americans. We have 1,000 styles of music, but when I think of Colombia, I'm thinking, every band is playing salsa music. Every band is the same, Yeah. They got the bongos and all this stuff, but that can't be.
Nah, it's the opposite, man. They have, like, really good blues bands. They have I've seen not long ago there was a Led Zeppelin tribute band coming through, and for my wedding, see, I'm on a scout for finding bands for my wedding.
That's cool.
So
yeah.
I've been posting in, like, Bogota, like, posts, like Angie writes in Spanish for me. And I'll post in, like, the Bogota music groups.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for a gypsy jazz trio for my wedding, right? Because I like all this stuff, And, dude, all these people responding, like, yeah, I play gypsy jazz. And music's amazing because, people gravitate towards everything. And, I'm glad that I was really, as soon as I met Angie, I was very open-minded to the music she was showing me that was coming out of Colombia. And just Latin America in general. And I've found some really good music coming out of there. Like, they're really cool, man. They wrote some hits. There's some songs that they wrote that, songs that were number one hits and stuff over there that we took and, like, gringoed it,
Right,
like,
yeah.
We made it. And we never realized that it was their songs first. We changed the lyrics to them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been learning a lot, and I've been learning that how universal the music has become. Actually.
It really is, yeah. I mean, even if the language is a little different, sometimes you can get the message without the words.
Yeah, that's right.
You are fascinating to talk to. I wish you were here for more than 3 days.
Me too, man. I know.
Can we get you to play us a song?
Live tune.
You brought your guitar. Would you do it?
Of course, yeah, man.
We'll see how we can figure this out. I'm sure you can just be, if you got acoustic, yeah?
Yeah. Sounds in tune, huh?
Sounds great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
What you got that's like little upbeat?
Upbeat.
Yeah, you got any? Play me some of the music I like. Play me some
okay.
Play me some old ragtime style, finger
Yeah, I
picking
will.
style. That's what I like.
Well, I'll do a tune here that's That's all right. Sounds tuned. This is a song by a man named Frank Stokes from the Beale Street Cheeks. I think it was in the 1930s. And I've done this song many a times. I'll be doing this on Saturday night. This is my rendition of a song called Stomp That Thing. Why your life done changed, won't treat me right. Try to keep you drinking whiskey out of my sight. I'm gonna stomp that thing. I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing them things not ring. Baby, don't be shy, bottle them down. Bragging about the time since I left town. I'm gonna stomp that thing. I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing them things not ring. Gonna stop it in the summertime, waiting till the fall. Don't do it right, I won't do it at all. I'm gonna stomp that thing. I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing the things not ring, yeah. Well, my baby said one thing, daddy said the same. Doing that thing is gonna ruin your name. I'm gonna stomp that thing. I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing the things not ring. Baby, your love done changed, you won't treat me right. Try to keep you drinking whiskey out of my sight. Stomp that thing, yeah. I mean the damn thing. Change, won't treat me right. Try to keep you drinking whiskey out of my sight. I'm gonna stomp that thing. I mean the damn thing. Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing the things not ring. I mean, Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing the things not ring. Lord, I tell you, Lord, I'm getting sick and tired of not hearing the things not ring. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's nice, man. That sounds even better in person.
Does it?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Cool, man.
That's awesome. I appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So let's talk about Saturday. Saturday night, 7 o'clock. You'll be there. Cook's Main Stage, downtown Whitesboro, Texas. Tickets are $20, and you don't want to miss out. One night only, and it's BYOB, so stop by the store and come on down. You going to have a drink with me that night?
Yeah, man.
One beer?
Yeah, hi, couple.
Deal.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got the show tomorrow, the next day in Houston.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
at 2 p.m.
Oh,
it's at Emmett's Place. But
yeah, let's see that. I got that pulled up here.
I'm pretty good at, keeping a balance, dude. We'll have a couple beers, I think.
Emmett's Place this is in Houston. Yeah, this is awesome. This place looks cool.
That's a real bluesy dive bar.
That's the best. That's the best, right?
Yeah, it is, man. I got my friends put me onto that. And they told me that I got to get in there, That's exactly where I ought to be.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So they can check you out at, you got a YouTube page, at Aaron Pollock, yeah?
Yeah, so if you you always got to be, there's a couple of Aaron Pollocks out there in the world. So you just have to type in.
This one?
Yeah, the one with the big old brown hat. I bought that one in Colombia, man. I love that hat. So if you find if you just type me in YouTube, you'll figure out. Usually, I've either got a hat on or I've got a big mustache, and that's how you'll find me.
That's awesome. So you're on Facebook now. Do you have two different Facebook accounts? One you and one artist, or is it all the same?
Yeah, I've got a personal Facebook that you can.
Gotcha.
You can follow me on. And I've got an artist one. I've actually got to work on linking those. Unfortunately, I can't. So I just keep everything operating, but I've also got a Facebook group called Aaron Pollock's Live Gigs and Festivals.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that's just tailored to, like, if you want to find where I'm playing next, you don't have to scroll through my Facebook.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
and then, of course, man, the website, just aaronpollockmusic.com. I'm updating that thing constantly, and it's really laid out well. It's laid out. You've got that listen here thing. I just put that in a few days ago.
This is cool.
Yeah, so I've got, it, because people try and, they want to book my show. They want to hear what I'm doing, and they might stumble upon a song that's not what they were expecting. And so, because I've written a lot of music, so I divided all my music into a songwriter playlist, solo blues playlist, and then an indie rock one.
These are great picks too, and I love that logo. This is cool.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I dig that.
I got to give the photo credit to my fiance Angie Cadena.
That's awesome.
She's good with the camera. Everything gets real professional when she's around, and then when we're apart, everything just goes. It turns all B grade again,
Yeah, yeah, I get that. We all have somebody like that in our lives, right?
Yeah, yeah, good one.
Now this says, I got to ask you this before we go here. This says nominations for Best Blues Album, Best Blues Artist. Where is this? Somewhere in here. Oh yeah, Youth Ambassador for Blues Music in Victoria. Can you tell me anything about that? What is that?
Yeah, so that's a recent position that I took up where it really does speak for itself. My job is Blues Music Victoria is a non-for-profit organisation in Victoria, of course.
Yeah.
And our job is to keep the blues alive and look after the blues industry there. And we've got a few different there's a few different blues parties. Blues. We've got the Melbourne Blues Association.
Okay, I see.
The Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society, and they were the ones that sent me over to Memphis.
Oh wow!
To do the International Blues Challenge a few years ago when I was younger, and they looked after me and sent me over there, and they've always been really good to me. And then you've got the Blues Music Victoria as well, and they're just separate entities, but we're all there just to look after keeping the blues alive and keeping people interested in listening to the blues and giving blues artists, platform to be heard on. Yeah. And so my job is I'm the youth ambassador, so making it less alienating for them to get into blues,
Right.
Because blues can be looked on as a genre that's for an older crowd.
Yeah.
I get that. And it's hard for young people to jump into it. They usually divert to something else because it's a little bit intimidating for them.
Yeah, it's an old craft, and part of the part of being a blues singer is telling your lived experiences. So somebody who's 12, it's hard to do that, but it's an open door, and it doesn't mean you can't. I mean, Robert Johnson was 12 once too.
Yeah, man, the whole thing is coming back. I mean it. Like, I've been seeing the resurgence of all of these genres over the last 10 years, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Like, just anything roots. I mean, bluegrass and Billy Strings, like, what he's doing is just astonishing, dude.
That kid.
He's done everything right, especially not just for himself, but for his genre. And he's not even bluegrass, like, fully,
Right.
but he knows how to keep just the essence of it alive enough that bluegrass is alive and well. And then you've got just, you've got all styles of roots music are really starting to prosper, and people are after that now. They don't want anything that's AI generated.
Yeah.
They're running away from that, and they're coming towards artists that are, the blues scene not so much, but, blues artists are pretty versatile. They, the word blues can scare off some listeners because they're thinking it's going to be all 12 bar and stuff, but we're doing blues and roots. We're doing country. We're country pickers, and I'm so glad that the resurgence is happening and people are picking up guitars again to be like Billy Strings and hopefully be one day like me. They watch people like me using their right thumb and they think, I'm going to get rid of this loop pedal and I'm going to start picking.
Actually learn to play. Let's just say it.
Everything's got its space, right? But no, I'm so glad to be a part of that. We have a monthly meeting that I still get to be a part of, because I'm away at the moment, and it's hard. Some of the time zone differences can make it hard, but I'm so glad to be part of Blues Music Victoria, and that will be my my position for as long as I can keep it.
That's awesome. That's a really cool thing to do. It sounds like your dad played a big role in getting you involved in that style of music as a musician and as a fan and as a musician.
Yeah.
And now you're carrying that on with others. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like, even the guitar I'm playing, this is I don't know if you can see the headstock there, but I think this one's called a Maton. So it's not a Martin, but a Maton. These have been made in Australia for years and years, many, many years. I think you're looking at least in the 60s they started. I think maybe even earlier. Geez, I should know that, especially if I ever wanted to be, looked after by Maton. But no, I think they even might have started in the 40s, dude.
Really?
Let's just say they've been around for a long time. And, Tommy Manuel plays one of these. This is his main guitar. It's actually same shape, same model sort of guitar.
Really?
Yeah, and ironically, my dad had 3 of these before I even picked up a guitar, And then I eventually, 10 years later or whatever, gravitated towards buying one myself. And it's just strange to think of the,
yeah.
How it all comes around and goes around. This has been a good guitar, man. I've been able to tour and travel with it, and I haven't had to do anything to it at all. Like it's starting to get its wear.
Mm-hmm.
It'll look like Willys one day,
Yeah.
Not Willys, but Willys. And
Trigger.
yeah, Trigger. That's right. And the neck's starting to
a
really
little
get
bit,
some wear on there.
Uh-huh.
But
a little.
yeah, it's starting to wear. But in terms of its like reliability, nothing's changed on it, man. The neck doesn't move. And
How long have you had it?
I got this in 2017, so
It's a good while.
yeah,
You put a lot of hours on that.
Yeah, this thing's been. It's really seen a lot of sunrises, man, and it's a good player, like.
And
so I'm proud of them, man.
There's still songs left in it.
Hell yeah. There's heaps.
That's good.
Mainly picking. This is a good picking guitar, man. This thing and it's easy to control, right? Because you're on stage and you get to dance around and do your thing. Usually I'm a dreadnought man. I like big-bodied guitars.
Right. Yeah.
But this one's really.
I saw the case and I was like, what is this? He's gonna pull. This is tiny.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
It's an EBG 808. These are gorgeous guitars, man. I should really find out when the business started, because they're still local to where I live, and they're
Really?
yeah, and they still make them. Still, it's amazing.
Will you be playing this on Saturday?
Yes, I will. I'll be playing this for the next until September at least.
Yeah.
I won't be home back to Australia until September.
This is let's pull this up. Here we go. You are Australia's foremost young fingerpicker.
Yeah.
Foremost.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Doors open at 6:30 at Cook's Main Stage, 142 East Main Street in Whitesboro. If you want to, you can go by the next 48 hours and pick up tickets at Cook's Mercantile. Or you can order them online, and I will share that in the video when I edit it. I'll put that link in there. This is going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to this. I think that this is something that is a rarity to have somebody from not just from so far away, but this style here in Whitesboro, and I think that's pretty awesome. I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
I always try to save one fun question for the end.
Okay.
Do Australians like Bluey as much as we do, or are y'all just sick of it?
I love Bluey, man. So, no, Bluey is not just... Bluey's a representative for... he's made it, dude. Bluey's the one that... dude, I think you got a Bluey cup in your car.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, dude.
That's true, I do.
Dude, there's Blueys. I saw about 10 Blueys today at Cracker Barrel. I don't know how Bluey got involved in Cracker Barrel, but he made it, man. He made it out of Australia.
He's an ambassador.
He's the Victor story that we all need. And dude, I got a pair of Bluey socks.
Do you really?
Yeah, they're good too. Good socks.
Good socks.
I wear them all the time, man. I love my Bluey socks. I've got a few. My fiance loves Bluey too.
Everybody, name somebody who doesn't like Bluey.
Yeah, I hope I don't know anyone that doesn't like Bluey.
If you don't like Bluey, you can just stop watching this podcast right now.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so sweet and so honest, and the perspective, especially as a parent, it'll break your heart. It'll break your heart. It'll teach you lessons and break your heart every single time.
Well, dude, let's do one more thing before we finish.
All right, let's do it.
If you go into Google, you just type in IMDb top TV shows of all time.
Okay, IMDb top TV shows of all time.
It's ridiculous, but it's happening. So top 250 TV shows. So of course, Breaking Bad, Planet Earth.
Mm-hmm. Band
Yeah,
of Brothers,
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, The Wire, Blue Planet. I don't get why everybody likes the Planet Earth stuff. Where are we here?
It's literally the planet, dude. How can you... Bluey, number 14. In the best shows of all... averaging a 9.3,
Wow. 9.3.
So Bluey has... I mean, I still haven't seen, like... Twilight Zone's, what, number 20?
Yeah.
So Bluey is killing it, dude. Bluey is 14th on the top 250 TV shows ever made.
Look at that. Oh, who are these people that hate it?
Yeah, no, they got to do it, man. They're probably like Chernobyl more, and they have to weigh it out,
Look at these 9.8 individual episode ratings. 9.2, 9.5.
Dude, the best episode of TV ever made, I think, is Ozymandias on Breaking Bad on one of the last seasons, and that's a perfect 10. So if Bluey's getting a 9.8,
yeah.
he's getting close to Ozymandias level stuff. So, dude, he's a representative, man. Like, I'm Team Bluey.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You got to be proud. I'd be a very proud Australian if at this point. I would say it's like I don't know how long they can keep this up though. Like it's animated, so they could go on forever, like Family Guy or The Simpsons. But you can't keep up this level of greatness for that long.
I hope they don't run it to the ground, man.
Yeah.
The Simpsons just got renewed for 4 more seasons.
I don't get that. No, does anybody watch that anymore? There's gonna be some diehard Simpsons fan.
I'm a huge Simpsons fan, and I lost track at like season 15, man. So that was at least 20 years ago.
Yeah, they started in 88, something like that, 89.
Yeah, they did. So I hope Bluey doesn't do that, man. But I like what Bluey's doing at the moment. I'm a big fan.
You like Bluey or Bingo better?
Bluey.
Really?
Yeah.
Which of the parents do you like better?
I like the dad. What's his name again? I've got one of him.
Bandit.
Yeah, that's him.
And the mom's name is something weird.
Goes to show I don't even know much better. So I just know that
Chili.
Oh, is it?
Chili. I think it's Chili.
I don't even know that. I'm not... Dude, I don't even watch it enough. I just love it. Every time it's on the TV, I'll watch it. I have the game on the Xbox One.
There's a game?
Yeah, there's a Bluey game, dude.
No!
I play that one. It's not too bad, actually.
Oh.
And I've got a Bandit toy, because I was at the cinema, and they had a Bluey vending machine, or the claw machine,
Wait a minute. Y'all have different names for...
it's a claw machine. What do you call it?
Yeah, claw machine. We have the same name for this?
Yeah, it's a claw machine.
But what do you call a slot machine?
Pokies. I don't know, dude, but I was at the cinema and it was full of Blueys, right?
Yeah.
And I got one. Actually, I got it for my fiance. I wanted to get her a gift, so I got her the Bluey.
That's sweet.
And then I went home and it had a yellow stomach.
What?
And I realized that's the dad, dude.
Oh,
it's Bandit.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people out there thought they were buying a Bluey.
Yeah.
And they were buying the dad.
What a
instead.
rip-off. Well, he's an okay guy, too.
Yeah, he's a good dude. But, yeah. But parents wouldn't know otherwise, man. They're probably just buying heaps of Bandits,
Do they know? Yeah, that's a pretty, a pretty specific change there. Oh, he's got the belly. Yeah, okay. The dad belly. He's got the Bluey dad bod.
Yeah, he's got the dad bod.
In Bogota, do they like Bluey, too?
They love Bluey there.
Oh, so it translates?
Yeah, it's massive over there, dude.
Oh, wow.
They watch it just as much as we do, probably.
I believe that.
Yeah, they're cool on it. And I'm glad, because it's a, it's obviously well written. And people are really gravitating towards it.
You came all the way across the world to talk about Bluey.
To tell you about
impromptu podcast and Bluey.
And finally learn what Bluey's mum's name is, too. No, it's cool. I like it all, man.
Well, guys, I want to see Whitesboro. I want to see you guys Saturday nights. Say hello to my new friend, Aaron Pollock. Thanks for joining me, man. This was awesome. Thanks for playing for us.
Pleasure is all mine.
Really appreciate it.
Can't wait to see you all there, so thank you.
Well, thanks. Welcome to Whitesboro. Welcome to Texas, man.
Thank you, dude.
I hope we've been hospitable as well.
Oh, you've been great.
Not just Laura, but all of us, right?
Nah, man, I love it here. It's cool.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys Saturday night. Bye, y'all.